of law and have been studying it.
Well, we don't have a crystal ball like Sharon just showed you there. But we have an idea of where things are going, right? Some of the trends and everything. Certainly technology. Technology impact is a big one, whether you're talking AI, whether you're talking about efficiencies or any of that type of stuff. So what we have is kind of a generational thing today. You've got the younger generation that they call digital natives. So when they grew up, our grandkids are this way, right? They know how to run an iPad. They know how to do all, they can punch things, right? They got the television up there and they want to change the channel and they're pushing the buttons. You know, they're touching the screen. They haven't quite figured out that, you know, the TV is not a touchscreen. But you have those folks, and then you've got the old farts like Sharon and I that are digital immigrants that came from the other world and we're coming into this day. We have Richard Susskind, who's a futurist. He's a professor at Suffolk University in the UK. He's written this book here. He's written several books, but this one in particular, The Future of the Professions, is the latest one, where he talks about the evolution of law. And as you can see from left to right there, bespoke is the English term for very, very customized. And then as you move on, there are certain features and things within the law now have become commoditized. So that's where the legal service providers are put in it, right? This is kind of the TurboTax of the world, right? It's very, very commodity driven. It's very simple to do. But where you're going to be practicing law is at the other end. Technological unemployment. So the technology is going to put folks out of business.
He agrees with us in that.
Yeah. So it's going to increase within the legal sector. It's where the impact of the technology is going to be at. But the 2000s, right, are really going to be where the decade of destruction, the 2020, that decade is really where Richard thinks you're going to see the biggest impact. That's where stuff's really going to start happening.
So sadly, the golden age of law, which is where I grew up, where if you went to law school and you were bright enough, you had some of these perks in your life, that appears to be gone. And we thought at one point it was about the recession, but it was not about the economy. And as the poster shows you, wishful thinking, no matter how bad you want it, ain't going to happen. And I don't think we're ever going to go back to the days that existed before.
So there's a lot of pressure upon the legal profession, right? So what if the Association of Corporate Counsel came out and says, well, what if all of your clients joined a union and now they want to negotiate rates with you? So now they've got that buying power, right? It's not just a one-off or a couple, it's a whole bunch of clients coming after you. So the pressure that they're putting upon lawyers is they want something more and pay less. Right? That's really where things are coming down to. It's all about the money. General counsel is doing the same thing. General counsels now are pulling more information, more legal stuff internal than they were going external to the things. But alternative fee arrangements, folks are looking at that. How can we pay or at least know what our legal fees are going to be and no more of this hourly stuff, right? I'm not a big fan of that. I don't want to pay for inefficiency. How do I know? You know, I know Chris personally. Chris is good at what he does, fine, you know, maybe I accept that. But I don't know other people, so if I can look at an hourly rate, going, fine, but I know Chris can do this in an hour, but I'm being billed 3 hours by somebody else. So that whole hourly thing is going away. And Sharon has already said they're not going to pay for first-year associates. The new normal, though, in law now is we're losing work to non-lawyers. This is where those legal services, the office of the world, those things are coming in. Virtual lawyers, so more of the small firm lawyers are using technology, and they're able to use technology very effectively. They don't need, you know, brick and mortar generally. They may do office sharing, those kinds of things, so they're reducing the expenses. If you can use technology to reduce your expenses, then bottom line, your profits are going up, right? For the same amount of effort.
A quick version, Chris, because we want to get it done.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to get you know. One of the things that we've been discussing in Future of Law, is done on the ABA side, we're doing on the VSB side, is exploring alternative business structures. It's a little bit of a controversial subject. The ABA provided a recommendation stating that lawyers should consider partnering with other disciplines, such as public relations professionals, psychiatrists. And it's kind of under the premise that when somebody gets in a crisis, like for example, if a corporation had a crisis, public relations crisis. It's not just the lawyers that are working, it's the public relations professionals, it's the social media team. I mean, they have a corporation basically has an array of professionals at their disposal, and when they have an all-hands deck on moment, they're all serving particular roles. So why not have that for an individual? It's controversial. We explored the idea. I was for alternative business structure to an extent where a lawyer, if the lawyer is involved, they should own up to at minimum 51%. Two of us were for it, two of us were against it. It went along generational lines, ironically. But just the thought about alternative business structures and where that could go. Maybe that's a business opportunity you all could deal with in the future to be a pair with a professional.
So IRS statistics are fascinating and depressing. In 1988, adjusted income of almost $80,000. By 2012, they were making less than $50,000, and there were 354,000 of them. The ABA in 2007, they said lawyers collected 92 cents on the dollar. Then they said it was 85 cents, and then it changed that to 84 cents as of this week. So that is also depressing. That's right. Now, Robert Shapiro, the man we all love to hate, who has made LegalZoom a great success, and who argues always that he is providing access to justice. The basic issue is, can decision trees replace lawyers? Is it UPL? Anybody who's taken on Robert Shapiro has lived to regret it. And so a lot of the states are collapsing. We no longer in Virginia have a UPL committee. Now any of these issues go straight to discipline to see if they violate discipline.
Rocket Lawyer and Avo as well, right? You see the pricing thing. This is, we're going after the consumer's desire to pay less money, right? And something that's fixed so that they understand, they know. So this is where Mark Britton, the CEO of Avo, where that's kind of the direction where they're going with this thing. So they're appealing to the low cost. Avo's new concept they have now, they're with fees and services, docket review services. They have, and this is kind of how they set it up. So you pay a client pays a fee, and then they have a marketing fee that is attached to that. Now, the interesting thing about Avo, the 800-pound gorilla here, is they set the price. You as the lawyer don't set the price. You want the business, you have to accept their pricing.
And so we were worried about this. It says here, check with your local ethics authorities. They're going to tell you they don't know what to say, because they wrote and withdrew a legal ethics opinion. They wrote one that said that it was impermissible fee sharing in Virginia, and they put it out for public comment. They got so much negative feedback that they withdrew it, and they're now studying it again. So I can't tell you what's going to happen there, but don't sign up for Avo, don't claim your profile until there is a determination, because this is a problem.
And now Avo's jumping into other areas now, right? Free legal forms. So they're trying to suck in the consumer here by providing free forms for them to fill out.
And I'm going to get you to hope my own way by just skipping slides. Okay, so we need some hopeful stuff. Everybody is looking at me going, give me a drink. Make it a double. I recommend Woodford for those of you who like bourbon. Okay, so what we need to do is reinvent law. That's what we really need.
And Talisker for your discussion.
And Talisker, that's right. I agree with that. And we have people working on that, and seriously working on it, and I'm glad they are. But having ideas is not enough. You have to execute on your ideas, and that's something we find lawyers are slow to do. This is the Rogers Diffusion of Innovation Bell, and it talks about those who are innovators. Lawyers are never innovators, almost never. They may be early adapters. Usually they're laggards. That's the last part of the bell. They are laggards, and they have been very much laggardly in adopting technology. So how to succeed in business today: you improve efficiency, lower production costs, automate, innovate, and adjust to quickly changing consumer demands and market forces. But I will tell you, my friend Baron Henley, our friend Baron Henley, he says, before you automate legal processes, decrapify them. So that's his word, but it belongs in the Urban Dictionary. And we don't.
That's not, I think, what he said. But you
Yeah,
can't say what he said.
Yeah, well, it was a little stronger than decrapify, but that's for public consumption. But nonetheless, he's absolutely right. Don't take a bad process and automate it.
So think out of the box, right? Do some different things. What about a law firm convenience store? You see 7-Elevens everywhere, right? When Powerball gets big, they're crowded as hell. Why not have your law firm in a convenience store, right? In a strip mall. The rent's less. Younger folks, they love to sleep in. Put your hours later in the day, right? You don't have to show up in the morning, because the common Joe Blow doesn't like taking time off from work. A lot of them can't afford to take time off from work to go see a lawyer. They'd rather do it after work. So why not adjust your hours and push them out there? Now this is a real world law office in a strip mall down in Fredericksburg, Virginia. When Sharon and I, when she was president of Virginia State, we traveled 95 way too much. We stopped there for lunch and we saw this, so I took a picture of it. Now the unfortunate part is today it's not there anymore. But what a great idea, right? To keep your overhead low.
And offer more than just the preparation of documents. This is where you can do something that LegalZoom doesn't necessarily do. So I have heard of people having a business success package where they'll incorporate you in your particular state, but they'll also give you a package deal. They'll maybe be a registered agent. They'll give you so many hours per year of advice, legal advice. That's very successful. The trouble is, as two of our other friends here have noted in the ABA Journal, there are 10% of lawyers actively trying to do this stuff, 20% know they need to, but they have no clue what they should be doing, 30% are in denial, and 40% work in areas with fairly minimal change, and they may be okay for a while. We hear a lot of lawyers say, I just want to get through the next 3 or 4 years, and then I want to retire because I can't deal with this stuff.
And that's what's happening here, right? The graying of big law. So big law now, they just want to wait 2 or 3 more years. They don't have to make a lot of change, and they can get to retirement. That's there. So you've got all these people at the top end there that just really aren't doing a heck of a lot, and they're resistant to change. So things that you need to do today in order to make your firm successful, there's a struggle and a fight within big law. That's why the smaller firms are a lot more nimble, right? They can react and do whatever. They tend to be more of the younger generation that is moving in that direction and not stuck with that, that staunchy of large law firm.
And 24% of those who passed the bar in 2000 are no longer practicing law. So a lot of the people who are leaving the law are making room for everybody else. So that's good. They're creating some space. Of course, social media, as you know, is a fertile hunting ground. I am a social media maven, and yeah, it works. It really works. But you really have to work hard at learning it. You have to probably have somebody to help you to do it. In my case, I have my brilliant youngest daughter doing it for me, and it's just been very successful, but it's something you have to work at. You have to give things away, your knowledge, you have to link to articles of interest, you have to be personal. You have to allow your personality to shine through. There is something that everybody's talking about these days, and that's emotional IQ. Not intellectual IQ, but emotional IQ, because it's still all about relationships. And there are lawyers all over Virginia who, having met me, will want to come back. And because they had a good relationship, because I understood what their needs were, because I always knew to talk about their families, we just formed a relationship, and that relationship stuck like glue. And who do you think they recommend when their friends need a lawyer? So that's the kind of thing, still today, you can't do it all electronically, there has to be relationships. Lawyer video marketing is great. We have this one thing, the question the whole world is asking is, how do I recover deleted text messages? This has been seen by close to 1 million people, and we get 2 or 3 calls a day just about recovering deleted text messages.
Some of them aren't crazy either.
Some of them aren't. John spoke to you before about virtualing lawyers. Contract lawyers and virtual lawyers can do a really good job, especially if they have a client portal and they have a case management system with a client portal. If you're a solo or small practitioner, that is something to be investigated. The contract lawyers, maybe you can hire them to do high volume, cheaper work for you. And if not on staff, have an outsourcing arrangement.
Alternative billing, take a look at that, because this is where things are going. So success fees, those types of things. Be creative in your billing. But at the end of the day, you're going to have the most success is if you can have predictive legal costs that you can tell your client. So that they know going in, this is at least the range, or this is kind of where I'm going to be. Because that's one of the biggest complaints that they have. Find efficiencies, right? Automate things. But as Sharon said, don't take a bad process and automate it, then you'll just have more errors and crud happen faster, that's all. But project managers are a big thing. When you think about it, I'm an engineer by degree, so not a lawyer. The legal matters, really, think about it, are like a construction project, right? There's timetables, there's resources that you need, there's constraints to them. As things change, as scope changes, that changes there as well. That's all about project management, right? And so this is a big, big area now within the legal profession where attorneys are moving into legal project management, where they're actually helping attorneys monitor and deal with and make sure that they stay on track for their matters, their legal matters.
Now, the human review of in electronic discovery is much less, but there are a lot of lawyers who are training the machines to do what used to be called predictive coding and is now called technology assisted review. And you run machines through an iterative process until you reach a point where fairly quickly they are almost all the time getting the right answers. And so you can get, Novus Law was featured in the ABA Journal for having 15 to 30% savings on electronic review, which was pretty amazing. You can invest in technology, not support staff. So this particular law firm you see had a 7-to-2 ratio of lawyers to staff, and there was no receptionist. You would check in via a touchscreen, and the touchscreen would alert a lawyer that somebody was there to see them, and that's how that worked. Going paperless makes absolutely the most sense in the world because we lose paper, we lose trying to find the paper, we bill more when we are paperless. And having a boutique firm that relocates, it's smart. We saw a firm in West Virginia, had a beautiful southern plantation building. These guys owned a vineyard, they all owned private planes, they were all big city lawyers who went to a place that was cheap to live, and they could afford an incredible lifestyle and could still cut their fees. And that's what they did, and it worked amazingly well.
Steal a ball?
Yeah.
So,
Just be as fast as I am. You don't talk.
just take on the legal zoos of the world with facts, right? So this is Joe Friday. I know the sad part is that I saw the originals. These are not the reruns. Come on, lady. So this is just a sampling. This is legal broom. So when you're that's the example that they use. But the point here is that take a look at the types of things that you do within a legal matter, and what does the attorney do, and what does those legal service providers do. So you need to differentiate yourself from them. What can the attorney do that's different than what those other providers are doing?
And what people miss most is human interaction. So this is an unusual photo to have. It's the Kentucky Derby, so people ask me, well, why do you have this photo? And it is because if you watch a horse race start, that horse that gets out in front first never, almost never, wins the race. So who wins the race? It's the horse who can find the space and get through that space. And it's no different for attorneys. So we need to find things that we can do, and we've mentioned some of them. Cybersecurity law, privacy law is huge. Data breach lawyers are everywhere. HIPAA is enormous, anything technology related. What's not in here is blockchain lawyers. Boy, are we going to need blockchain lawyers and lawyers who understand cryptocurrencies, and almost none of them do. So those are places you might think about going. So keep your eye on the horizons. You know,
drone law.
Yeah, drone law, unmanned aerial vehicles, right? So there's all this stuff coming around, and as you see it, you'll understand the need for a lawyer. So those who do not get the impact of technology are certainly going to be extinct because apparently they cannot evolve. And evolve we must to stay up with the law. And boy, was that fascinating. But I wanted to make sure you saw something at the end of it all. We're going to stick around for questions, but it's time for everybody to go to happy hour, if indeed that's where they're headed. And thank you very much for inviting us.